Thank you very much and welcome everyone. My name is Kristina Osen and this is my colleague Viviana Uruena, and we are both PhD students in the research project Diversity Turn in Land Use Science. And we are here to present you a first synthesis on our research project. So to start with, please lean back and buckle up and let me take you on a journey to Madagascar. Because this is where our research takes place, and this is also where the main share of the global vanilla supply is produced. So think about the last vanilla ice cream that you had, or the last vanilla custard that you had, or the next Christmas cookie that you will eat. Most likely, vanilla will play an important role in this as a flavoring agent, and most likely this vanilla was produced exactly in this northeastern part of Madagascar, which is called the Sava region. And believe me, Madagascar or vanilla is sometimes perceived as a standard flavor or almost plain, but it is really anything than plain. And so it is one of the most popular flavors, actually, and the main share of it is produced in a very small area in northeastern Madagascar. So this makes it a very special case that a product of global importance is produced in a relatively small area. So whatever happens on the world market is reflected on this little part, in this little area, and then also the dynamics in this area reflect on the world market dynamics. This makes it a very special case and also very interesting for research and definitely anything else than plain. So what is vanilla actually? It is an orchid, which probably some of you haven't known before. It's an orchid that grows hemiepiphytically on trees, and it grows up the stem to the canopy to reach the light. But it doesn't come originally from Madagascar. It comes originally from Mexico and Central America. But it was introduced to Madagascar roughly in the 19th century by the French colonial regime. But nowadays it is really very present in culture and very important for Malagasy people. And it is cultivated in smallholder agroforestry systems. So there are no big companies or that have huge plantations, but everything actually happens at the small scale, farmed by smallholder farmers. And Madagascar accounts roughly for 40% of the global vanilla production, and therefore has the highest market share compared with other producing countries. And it is a key source, therefore, for foreign exchange and for income in Madagascar. And within Madagascar, the northeastern part, the Sava region, plays an essential role because it produces actually around 90% of the Malagasy vanilla. And a main share of the rural population is involved in the vanilla sector. And cultivating vanilla actually needs many hands, and it is a very labor-intensive job. And it is, you can split the process to have vanilla as the end product, you can split it up into different steps. First, the cultivation, that takes already around 9 months from the pollination until you can harvest the fruits. But first of all, of course, you have to establish your plantation and then you have to maintain it for around 3 years until you get the first harvest. But then after 3 years, you can keep it and it stays productive for many, many years if you know how to manage it. And then the pollination is a very interesting case because every single flower is pollinated by hand. There is no natural pollinator in Madagascar. And so you can imagine pollinating every flower by hand it takes a lot of time. And every flower opens only one day. So as a farmer, you have to know on which day opens which flower. So you go there and pollinate it directly. And then it takes 9 months until the fruit is ripe and ready to harvest. And until then, as a plantation owner, you have to secure your plantation. And then you have to do the harvest fruit by fruit. So every step is done by hand. There is no mechanical help to do that. And then, if you have the fruit in your hands, it's nothing, it doesn't smell at all. It is just green and it looks like a huge bean. But it is not like the actual product that you all know, this black spice. To get this, you have to process it. So you have to cure it. This is an enzymatic process that happens. And it takes around additional 3 months to do that. So you have to boil the green fruits to initiate this enzymatic change. And then the beans or the fruits have to sweat and dry for several weeks. And then you have to condition and sort the product. So all in all, it takes around 1 year until you can actually sell the finished product. And you can only harvest vanilla once a year. And then as a farmer, as a producer, you have 2 options. You can either sell it in green or you can sell it in black. And from 5 kilograms of green vanilla, you get roughly 1 kilogram of black vanilla. And then generally, harvests are quite variable, and they are often linked to extreme weather conditions. So if there is a storm, or if there is a heavy rain, or some drought events, then your harvest will not be that good. So how does the vanilla get from the farmer to the end consumers like us? This is called the vanilla value chain, and it comprises many local and international actors. And it's quite a complicated network, but here we show it as a simplified chain. First of all, it includes the producer, the smallholder producer, and then there are many collectors and middlemen included. Part of them, they do the curing process themselves, so they buy the green fruits and then they cure them, and others, they buy the finished product and then they resell it and they resell it. So this can be a very complex network itself. And then there are the exporters, the importers, and then the processors, because we don't eat vanilla just like this. We eat it as ice cream, as cookies. We eat it in a processed way. And then the first steps in this value chain, they are additionally controlled and regulated by the government, which should make it more easy or more transparent, but it's not always the case, unfortunately. Sometimes it makes it even more complicated for the individual actors. And then there are some additional changes, like speculations and stockpiling of the finished product, currency fluctuations, and of course also political corruption. So one option is that many companies did this in the recent past. They introduced the concept of vertical integration. That means that they try to leave out all those collectors and middlemen and try to interact directly with the smallholders and work as exporters and importers. So they leave out this big chunk of people in the middle, and by this they try to simplify the whole value chain. And this is linked to contractual arrangements between the farmers and the companies, and they are often linked to certification schemes like Rainforest Alliance or Fair Trade or Bio. And those bring various advantages to the farmers in terms of price premiums or educational benefits, health benefits, income diversification, or easy access to credit. So this can be quite profitable for the company itself because it links the farmers to them. It gives some stability in this quite intransparent value chain. And to the farmers, of course, it also has some advantages, especially in times of very volatile price dynamics, and this is actually always the case in the vanilla context. So prices for black vanilla, they fluctuate a lot on the world market and also on the local market. So here you see a display of the prices in the Sava region, so for local prices for black vanilla, and you can see that they highly fluctuate from almost nothing to like quite a lot of money per kilogram. And right now we are in one of the peak seasons, so it is very promising to be part in this vanilla game, but it is also a risky field. And additionally, there are weather-related growing risks that are not possible to control for anyone who's involved in the whole vanilla business. So engaging in vanilla cultivation or also in the trade is very promising, but it is unstable for various reasons. And then high prices, they lead to a rush for new market entrants because they hope that they can benefit from and take advantage of those high prices. And I hope that you saw, or that I could convince you that vanilla is actually anything than plain, but a highly complex topic and also very relevant to look at it from a research perspective. And this is what our project tries to do. We try to contribute to understand the vanilla context. We want to understand who actually benefits, who loses, what are the main opportunities for everyone who is involved, what are the main challenges. And to cover this complex issue, we need to cover all sustainability dimensions to get a full picture. So we have to cover the social dimension, the environmental dimension, and also the economic dimension. And my colleague Viviana will tell you more about what we actually do in our research project.
So, as Kristina was mentioning, in our project we focus on the 3 dimensions of sustainability. But in order to do that, we need an interdisciplinary team, right? Therefore, our project is composed by PhDs and PIs from very different disciplines of the university. However, having the experience from Germany and Göttingen is not enough. We have also our counterparts in Madagascar that give us a lot of context and knowledge about Madagascar. We have PhDs as well as PIs in Madagascar. So we are a very big team and very diverse. However, our project started with an exploratory phase. So we all traveled to Madagascar in 2016, and we had the opportunity to meet different stakeholders from the region. So we had local governments, NGOs, farmers, collectors, exporters, and then we start grabbing all this information and knowledge so we can have a better expertise on the area. And this has been very important because this has, since we have been working together with them in the last years, we have been keeping these relations, and this has enriched our research very much. So here you can see a photo of one of our stakeholder meetings. We hold these meetings every year where we have this iterative relation with them, communication relation. So we give information about our findings and they provide feedback. And that's why we call that our project is more transdisciplinary, because we go beyond the interdisciplinary among us, but we also include non-academic in our research. So based on these interviews that we have with the stakeholders, we found certain challenges in the vanilla production. One of the first challenges we found is that for farmers, it is very difficult to implement certain standards, the certification standards. Also, it is very difficult for them to organize into groups, so what we call as cooperatives. What Kristina was mentioning before about the high vanilla prices, yes, they are a very good income opportunity for the farmers, but at the same time bring challenges such as theft and also inflation. And so for the people who are not involved in the vanilla business, then the life gets very expensive. A fourth challenge that we found is that there is insufficient transfer of experience and knowledge. And this happens in 2 levels. In primary and secondary schools, but also for farmers. Farmers don't receive also enough training. Also, another challenge we found is that there is a trade-off between subsistence cash crops, as well as subsistence crops and cash crops. So farmers cultivate either vanilla or rice or a combination of both. But because of land scarcity, then this trade-off exists. As well, what we found is that there is a very low income diversification. So we didn't see many farmers planting vanilla, rice, cacao, giroffe, but it was rather more vanilla and rice, and therefore the diversification is very low. And last but not least, there is a high pressure on biodiversity because of deforestation and habitat loss. So based on these challenges, we ask ourselves as researchers, how can we from our disciplines approach these challenges? So what we did was taking these real-world problems and reformulate them into research questions. And this is what I'm going to present now. The first challenge regarding the implementation of standards, our first research question is, how do farmers evaluate the benefits and constraints of contract farming? Regarding the association of farmers is what drives actually collective acting and autonomous organizing among the farmers. Regarding theft, we ask, what are the effects of vanilla theft of farmers' livelihoods? Because theft not only brings an economic loss. What we know from anecdotal evidence is that thieves come actually from the same village, or most of the times. And this brings very difficult dynamics at the community level. So these create certain complicated situations along, and therefore it is important to study this. As well, there is a psychological cost because of that. Regarding the transfer of experience and knowledge, we ask, what are the conditions for teaching sustainable land use in primary schools? And regarding this low-income diversification, we also ask how the vanilla boom influences the livestock farming and the food consumption. So what are the effects of these high prices of vanilla on these variables? And as well, we want to know how does land use affect biodiversity and ecosystem functioning? As well as what are the trade-offs and possible win-win situations of vanilla cultivation between ecosystem services, yields, and biodiversity. And why is this important? Because we want to know if there is a scenario where farmers can have a decent yield or a yield that is profit for them, but at the same time that they don't harm the biodiversity that is so rich in Madagascar. So now I'm going to present to you the the first results, because the research is still ongoing, and then we can answer some of those questions. So the first one, how do farmers evaluate the benefits and constraints? What we find is that certain obligations are very hard to meet, and therefore there is need for higher incentives from the side of the exporters. And it is also very important to include a gender perspective. And why is that? Because female farmers, they want different things as male farmers. Female farmers are more interested in those benefits that those contracts provide in terms of insurance functions, such as health, education, rice credits, for example, while male are more interested on the monetary gains. So they're more interested on getting a higher premium price. Therefore, exporters should account for these different preferences in order to improve the popularity of the contracts, and as well to make them more stable, so that they don't last 1 year, but they can be in a long term. Regarding the farmer association, what we found is that, well, farmers are actually interested in organizing themselves. However, this is perceived as very difficult. Why? Because of two reasons. First, is because of a lack of confidence that they can actually do it. So when we were there, they were asking us, please help us to organize. We need somebody from external, we cannot do it ourselves. And the second reason is that they have doubts about the integrity of the other farmers in their own village. And why is this? Because of theft. So as I told you, this creates a lot of pressures in the community, and then this mistrust is not letting them to decide to organize. And therefore, what it is very important is to develop strategies against theft in order to build a strong and capable social capital that can support these farming networks. Regarding the teaching sustainability in land use, what we find is that teachers' knowledge about sustainable land use is important to improve locally relevant education for sustainable development. And as well, it is important to potentialize or to make more stronger the training on biodiversity conservation. Because what we found is that in the curriculum of the primary schools, it is there, the topics of biodiversity conservation, but the teachers' knowledge do not match with that curricula. Regarding the livestock farming and food consumption, what we found is in vanilla boom, when prices are very high, so what we call as vanilla boom, livestock activities have been slightly intensified. And also, households with a diversified income and diverse land use have a better diet than those who do not. Also, regarding this scenario that I was mentioning before, where we can have good yields and biodiversity, what we find is that vanilla agroforests can contribute to maintain native and endemic species in the agricultural landscape, especially when we compare it to other land use types, such as hill rice, for example. And vanilla agroforests have the potential to support biodiversity conservation strategies while also attaining production goals of farmers. So we can have this perfect scenario where farmers can get their income, but at the same time do not create much pressure on the biodiversity that exists in Madagascar. However, vanilla agroforests are not primary forests, so we cannot have the perfect one or the optimal one, but just a little bit down. So just to wrap a bit everything what I have mentioned, vanilla production in Madagascar faces numerous challenges, we just saw, but it also comes with income opportunities for farmers, for local communities, for regional and national entrepreneurs, and also for biodiversity. And understanding the full conditions and potentials of sustainable vanilla production requires the consideration of the local context and the interrelations among the key actors at the local, national, and international level. And this is, in these three levels, this is what our project has been working on very constantly. So at the local level, we have worked with farmers because we work together with them during our data collections, with assistants because we taught them our methods, and then we also share with them our results. Then we talk with institutions present in the region, and we also share our results with students. So this is capacity building, reflection, networking. At the national level, we have talked with the government, where we have shared our research, where we have also received feedback from them. We have worked together with private companies, for example, for the contract farming. We have developed university networks among different universities in Madagascar. And finally, at the international level, we have built academic collaborations as we work together with PIs and PhDs in Madagascar. Hopefully, we will have very soon scientific publications where we can provide evidence of our different findings. And also something very important for us is that we are creating public awareness. So we have been sharing our research not only on the academic level, but also on the general public. And this is very important that these types of research do not just stay in journals, but they can be known for more people. So these are the take-home messages.
Yeah, so we hope that when you go back home that you take some messages with you. Mainly that the vanilla context, and that vanilla is, first of all, very interesting and not plain. And that the vanilla context in Northeast Madagascar is quite complex. It's a complex sustainability issue and a very interesting case study of local and global importance. And the vanilla cultivation or production is challenging, but it also has a lot of potential to contribute to sustainable development in northeastern Madagascar. And capturing this whole complexity it has to be a holistic approach. You can't approach it from a single discipline, otherwise you leave out very important aspects. And so you need an interdisciplinary and also an intercultural team. And you need continuous inclusion of local stakeholders to really get a full picture. And then in our case, our project has impact on multiple levels, but of course other projects also have that. This is the nice thing about research in this sustainability realm. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much, and if you have questions, we're here and happy to answer them.